Hi, everybody. I'm Dr. Elizabeth Edgerly, Executive Director for the Alzheimer's Association here in Northern California. And today is the longest day. Woo! We will talk more about what does that even mean. Hopefully, a lot of you know what we're talking about. But before I get started, let me introduce our amazing guest today, Mandy Rapp.
Hi.
Mandy! Mandy is actually our chair of the longest day event, which we're going to talk more about. And she is one of my heroes at the Alzheimer's Association. I really mean that, Mandy. You're amazing. And we are so lucky to have you involved in the work that we do at the Alzheimer's Association. Those of you who are joining us, I can't wait for you to meet Mandy and hear her story and all that she does. So thank you for being here, Mandy.
Thank you for having me.
So June is a lot of things. It's Pride Month, yay! We love Pride Month. We also have our Alzheimer's and Brain Awareness Month. So we call it ABAM, Alzheimer's and Brain Awareness Month, and we have the longest day. But let's talk first, before we get into what the longest day is, let's talk about Alzheimer's and brain awareness. And what does it mean? Well, it means what are the things that we can be doing to take care of our brain? Are there incremental changes we could make in our daily lives that perhaps even lower our risk of developing cognitive impairment or even dementia in later life? And the good news is there are some things we can do. And Mandy and I were chatting just a little while ago about what we're working on. Each of us has our own quest, right? And hopefully we all have a quest to maintain our brain health as we age. For myself, this has been a long journey. I would say I've been working on this for about 8 years since I turned 50. So yes, I am 58. And one of the things was they were talking about weight and how much you weigh and how the BMI related to risk of Alzheimer's. And it was a wake up call for me when I plugged in those numbers. I'm like, oh. And so I went about really focusing on having a healthier weight, but perhaps even more importantly, a healthy blood pressure number. So hypertension or high blood pressure is a significant risk factor for Alzheimer's or other types of dementia and cognitive impairment in late life. So there are lots of things we can do, and we even have a new 10 ways to support your brain health, 10 healthy habits. Mandy, tell me what you do. I know you think a lot about Alzheimer's like I do. What do you do for your brain health?
Yes, I think for me, moving my body every day has been something that I've been really passionate about for a long time, especially playing soccer. But most recently, I've been working on trying to learn more about the link between brain health and the connection to our diet and what we
Mm,
eat.
great.
So I've been trying to introduce new healthy recipes. I do have 3 kids, so getting healthy food mixed in with good tasting food has been a journey. But I can't lie, I always try to incorporate salsa. It's a big yum for me, or some sort of low sodium hot sauce into all my options. And that links into my longest day fundraiser that I'm excited to share with you today. I've been doing a salsa competition for the last 2 years.
Ooh, see, when I hear salsa competition, I picture you out there, but you're talking salsa that you eat.
Yes, yes.
Oh,
It's funny. Most people are like, we're not dancing, right? I'm like, no, we're eating.
awesome. So you have been working on different recipes and trying things out?
Yeah, I personally had a recipe that I inherited from my grandmother. And so that was, I'll share a little more with you later about my
Yeah.
linking to that. But in our competition, we have people bringing all different kinds of salsa. So it's been so fun
Oh, I
to
love it.
try everybody's, different ways of doing it and trying to incorporate those into my own recipes.
I love it. So it's a brain healthy activity for the longest day. So you've got a twofer in there, right?
Yes.
And that's like me too. So my longest day activity, and we're going to talk in just a moment. What are we talking about? The longest day. And Mandy is the person to describe to us what that is. But every year I do a fitness campaign for myself. And so I do 100 miles of running, biking, walking in a particular month. And this year, it's June. So I'm beyond the middle and I've got a lot of miles to go. And I invite people to join me, ideally, to sign up and be a team member, a participant, and for us to raise awareness and raise funds while also doing something that's really good for our own health and well-being and brain health. So I'd love to hear more from you about your involvement with the longest day. Tell us more about what is it and how does one do it?
Of course. So today is the summer solstice. It is the longest day. And we use that as kind of our anchor to say we're shining a light on the Alzheimer's Association. And you mentioned raising awareness as well as raising funds. And the neat part about the format of the longest day is that you get to pick. And so for me, I shine my light, is how we say it. I shine my light for my dad. He and I shared a really special connection, and he was a huge support throughout my life. He did pass away from Alzheimer's, and so we started engaging with the Alzheimer's Association and the longest day after learning about his diagnosis. So each year I've found a way through this idea of doing your own thing to incorporate something that was meaningful to me and him and our relationship into my fundraiser. So I've done a virtual campaign around surfing and water sports. We did a bowling event. That was my dad's favorite hobby. And as I mentioned, for the last 2 years, we've hosted our Salsa to End Alls, spelled SALZA, salsa. We've held this competition at our local favorite brewery, Dying Breed Brewing. Salsa is what keeps me going in this because I mentioned it was my grandmother's recipe that we made, and my dad and I used to make that together every week almost when I was growing up.
Oh, I love that. And I love this picture of your event and the salsa competition. How creative to call it salsa. It's really wonderful. And I'm so sorry that you lost your dad to Alzheimer's. It's I do this for my mom who I lost about 5 years ago to Lewy body dementia. And I have to say, I think about her every time I am walking to do my 100 miles. I think about her the whole time. And it's a wonderful part for me of healing to have. It's almost like a meditation, like this is my time in honor of my mom and everyone who's going through this. And I don't know if it's like that for you with your dad, but it's like a healing process.
It really is. And I appreciate this platform to spread that awareness, but also to share my story. It's really opened up that communication line between, I always share my event details with my coworkers and my social media network.
Mm,
And I've had overwhelming support from both of those places where folks then feel like they're not alone.
yeah.
Um, and then we can connect on this and people do open up and share their stories as
Yeah,
well.
it's isn't amazing. I have a lot of friends on Facebook. Hopefully some of you are, watching, but people come out of the woodwork and they say, one of my friends actually had moved her mom into the same facility where we had moved my mom.
Mhm.
And we didn't even know that each of us was facing this. So it's remarkable and no one should face Alzheimer's or any type of dementia or cognitive concern, frankly, alone. There are so many of us going through this, and the Alzheimer's Association is there to help and to connect you to people like Mandy and people like me who are there to talk it over. Mandy, you mentioned your dad, would you be willing to share a little bit more about your journey?
In our relationship and his disease.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. Yeah, so my dad was young. He was diagnosed with early onset, and it was interesting when my mom started noticing some cognitive decline. They did have a struggle. to get that final diagnosis
Yeah.
because he was so young.
Mm.
Um, and once he was diagnosed, it really helped, at least for me, to dive into the Alzheimer's Association, alz.org, to learn and
Mhm.
figure out what was going on, what can I expect on that journey, how can I best support being a whole state away from them. And so that was really helpful. But his decline happened pretty quick, and he passed away 2 years ago.
Oh, sorry. I'm so sorry that he faced this at a young age and that you also, his daughter, many times I have conversations with families like yours where it's really young and it's different. Everybody has their unique experience in the face of any type of dementia. And being younger when you're diagnosed is unique and different from being older. Not that it's easy either way, but
Right.
thank you for sharing that and sharing his story. So many times I know you've told his story and your family's story and inspired others to get involved. Um, so I know there's a lot happening, not just today, but for what we call longest day season. Could you share some other things? Because on the one hand, it's like exciting that you can do whatever you want to do. On
Yep.
the other hand, sometimes people are like, I have no idea what I should do. So, what are some things that you're seeing?
Yes, thank you. And I have been very fortunate this longest day season to share that story and more with so many people. So first, I did mention that I've shared it just in my own network. I've been super fortunate. My employer, Premier Nutrition, gave a generous, very generous donation to my
Amazing.
fundraising event.
Wow.
So
Thank
that's
you,
been
Premier Protein,
Yes,
for
so that's been
supporting.
generating a lot of buzz, and we're super thankful. But also being chair on the committee, I've been able to really attend a lot of different events. So just last week, I was able to go to, or I think it was Monday, able to go to our local In Shape Fitness Club and share my story and connect with some of the employees and members there for their longest day event. I also just attended a fellow volunteers book club event, which was really fun. That was done virtually. So also know you don't have to do in person. You can always do something online. And this weekend, I'm looking forward to joining up with the Litas for their motorcycle ride event. They are going to be ending their big ride. There's two rides happening, and then they're ending right near where I live. So we're going to take our motorcycle up there and get to meet them and hopefully make some more connections. So I do love just all these different creative events that bring the longest day and awareness to the Alzheimer's Association.
That is fabulous. I love the diversity of experiences, and actually, you're doing so many different things. It's pretty amazing. For those of you who are on and you think, boy, I'd like to get involved, we are always looking for not only participants and leads in the longest day, but also volunteers like Mandy, people who are like, hey, this is kind of fun. And it's through volunteers that we've managed to get some of these connections too. So you can really make a difference. And Mandy is a great person to talk to if you want to hear what it's like, right, Mandy? I imagine you would always welcome some newcomers to the
Yes,
committee.
I love talking to people when they want to get involved. And my favorite part of my volunteer work is helping people brainstorm because we
Yeah,
do have that freedom to choose what activity we want to do. And so coming
nice.
up with those ideas is really fun. So happy to connect with anybody that has more questions about the longest day or wants to put on an event.
Nice. One other thing I wanted to mention, I know the San Francisco Marathon has
That's
a
right.
special thing for those of you who are runners. Mandy, I know I'm just asking you off the cuff. Could you talk a little bit about that? You comfortable just sharing what that
Yes.
is?
Yes,
Okay.
this is our first year in with the San Francisco Marathon. And so you can select if you wanted to run in the half or full marathon with the San Francisco Marathon. You can select the Alzheimer's Association as your nonprofit kind of fundraising ad to your running. We are so excited to be working with them on this. And I think that it really opens up another, and running is something that is pretty universal. So if you like to run, you can walk and want to do that as your activity. The San Francisco Marathon is a beautiful run, walk. And so we are excited to be a part of it.
That would be amazing. Thank you. Thanks,
Mhm.
Mandy, for sharing that. So I also want to share a quick update on some news that came out. And Mandy, I imagine this is maybe not music to your ears, but certainly a hopeful, uplifting message. And it's about the possibility of another treatment emerging. For those of us who've lost loved ones, this is sometimes bittersweet. You think, oh, gosh, if only we had this years ago, right? And yet it's so exciting to think that there could be a different trajectory for others. So we now have Leqembi, which is a drug that can remove amyloid from the brain and potentially buy people more time. And that was approved last year. This year, recently on June 10th, donanemab, which is in the pipeline and under review by the FDA, received a thumbs up from the advisory committee. So this is consisting of experts in the field, and they give their recommendation about should this proceed and move forward and be approved or not. And so knowing that it actually got the thumbs up to be approved is one more checkbox on the pathway to maybe another drug emerging on the market. And donanemab, like Leqembi, is one that will remove amyloid from the brain and potentially buy people more time, and was significantly different from those who were on placebo. So in terms of cognitive staying power, I would say. And what's really tricky when we're looking at an Alzheimer's treatment is if I have Alzheimer's, let's say, and I stay the same, or even get maybe a little worse, but not as bad as I would be if I weren't taking a medication, that is a win. But it can be really hard to find a win. So you have to look at the control group and see what they did. And so you can read this quote from Dr. Joanne Pike, our CEO and president. The notion of having more approved Alzheimer's treatments is incredible. And that's what we're working towards, is not just one, not just two, and not just amyloid, really. We want to see a range of treatments available, not only for Alzheimer's, but other types of dementias as well. So we are here to focus on improving life for all people living with dementia and really working towards enhancing brain health for all. So kind of exciting, huh?
It's so exciting. And I think it's really important to today, longest day, we're shining a
Yeah,
light on the progress. Like you mentioned, we have to make
absolutely.
progress to get to where we want to be.
I couldn't agree more. Mandy, thank you so much for being here today, for everything you do on the longest day. You are incredible, and we're so lucky to have you and all of our volunteers involved. If you want to get involved, we would like you involved. So please reach out. I want to close today by sharing news. I am actually going to be changing roles with the Alzheimer's Association. I'm going to be the new Senior Director for Care and Support, focused on creating the programs, the connections, the services that we offer to individuals living with cognitive impairment and Alzheimer's and other dementias in their families across the country. And it has been my great honor to be the lead for this chapter, the executive director and the Region 2 leader. I get to work with the most amazing volunteers and staff team. And truly, I feel so fortunate to be able to do this work and to continue doing this work to affect the lives of millions of people, hopefully for the better. So this will be my last Facebook Live, but I will still be here and I'm in it till we get there. We're going to cross that finish line together, Mandy, where we have that first survivor, have a white flower, and we can celebrate. So thank you all for joining us. And thank you again, Mandy.
Thank
It's a
you.
pleasure. Happy longest day, everybody. Take care.